We are without question now one global economy, and it is becoming increasingly one global supply chain with every passing month. And everybody is looking for how do we create more jobs. But part of the answer is that we all buy from one another again. So we're all struggling with the same phenomenon, and the employers are now in the driver's seat in Canada. So we have a lot of desperate people all over the world looking for work. And in Canada, Angela was talking about how our labor force expanded. The biggest part of our labor force expansion was immigration, right through the recession. And the biggest category of immigration through the recession was temporary foreign workers. Temporary foreign workers only come into this country when the employer says, I can't find somebody to do the job here. And what they don't tell you is, I can't find somebody to do the job here for these wages and working conditions. But we have a government that is very open to working with business to just make it prosper in whatever way. And so we see this acceleration of employers taking over immigration policy. Now, unlike Denmark, Canada was built by immigrants. And it was built by immigrants at a time when we were growing our middle class. The immigrants were not a challenge to the middle class. It was because the employers were hiring people at decent wages and working conditions that we grew a middle class that actually expanded their business. Henry Ford understood this 100 years ago when he said, basically, if I want to grow my market share, I'm going to give people more leisure, a shorter workday, and higher wages so they can buy my stuff. We are on this long-term expansion of the global economy. And the moment that we are in is rightly being called a crisis of certainty. It isn't that any of the fundamentals have changed. It's like everybody is scared to invest. Nobody is sure which next domino is going to fall. This does not look good. But let's stop for a moment and get beyond, like this is a moment in global economic history on the financial side, but economically speaking, we're going through two revolutions at the same time. So the first phase of the Industrial Revolution happened about 150 years ago in countries like Denmark and Canada, and it advanced after the Second World War. But we really haven't finished the Industrial Revolution. It's still coming to emerging nations. More and more nations are becoming increasingly industrialized. That's why our jobs are being outsourced, because there's suddenly workers that are incredibly cheap, and corporations are bringing these productive capacities to new countries where people are hungry for work. But if you fast forward for 100 years, maybe even 50, maybe even 25, the tables could turn. For the last 30 years, our struggle has been to attract capital. Capital mobility has been searching for the place where they can make stuff for the cheapest, and the rules of the game written by governments have let them come and go as they wish, and that makes us all competitors to try and attract them for cheaper and cheaper prices to come and invest here, please. Come and make our jobs happen here, please. So the competition has been between nations to attract capital. But in Denmark, in Canada, in every advanced industrialized nation, and nations like China, we are facing the biggest shrinkage of the labor force ever seen in history. We are seeing a wave of people that are currently working who are our age group. I look around the room, mostly our age group, in their 50s and older, and they are destined to leave the labor force in the next quarter century. So it could very well be labor's time, because what will be needed all over the world is more workers. And suddenly the chase may be for more labor mobility. So when I take a look at what is happening to youth workers right now, I think it's a tough time for them now. But boy, are they going to be in the